Greetings to all. Let me tell you something before we start that most videos don't cover. This is not going to be a list of ways to be more productive. It won't tell you to simply wake up early or build a to-do list. It won't be another dull motivational speech that sounds fine but doesn't accomplish anything. This will be different because procrastination isn't the only issue. It has to do with your future. It's about the you you've been putting off for years. The dream you've been putting off is at issue. You always swear you'll begin working toward the objective tomorrow. You haven't yet entered the life you know is meant for you. If you're sick and weary of seeing your days slip away one by one, I'll do it later if you're sick of telling yourself lies. This video is for you if you're sick and weary of feeling guilty, behind, lethargic, trapped, and uninspired. For procrastination is more than just a poor habit. It steals your time, your development, your self-esteem, and ultimately your life. The worst thing is that most folks won't even be aware of it until it's too late. This video is significant because of this. Because being more productive isn't the only goal here. Regaining control over your time, habits, potential, and identity is the goal here. I'm going to take you through the top 10 realities that will help you finally overcome your procrastination. Every truth is genuine, heartfelt, and unvarnished. Every step is determined by what works, not by what sounds good. You'll know exactly how to avoid procrastinating, in addition to understanding why you do it. Even when you don't feel like moving, you'll learn how to do it. You'll discover how to develop discipline even in the absence of motivation. Most significantly, you'll discover how to develop into someone who truly creates dreams rather than merely discussing them. Stay with me through to the finish if you're serious about making a difference in your life, not simply by viewing videos, but by taking action. Because procrastination will no longer feel like a habit after we're finished. You will feel as though you will never be able to live with it again. This is more than just a strong video. Additionally, it's a secret English weapon. You're not only picking up lessons that will change your life. You're teaching your voice, brain, and ears to speak English more fluently and quickly. Thus, you're growing stronger in both life and language with each second you watch. Let's get started. Step 1. Quit waiting for inspiration. Establish a system. First, let's dispel the largest untruth. When I'm inspired, I'll get started. Millions of hopes have been dashed by that one sentence. Here's the reality. There is no motivation. Motivation isn't a force that appears out of nowhere and makes you productive. It's an emotion. Moreover, emotions are not trustworthy. They appear occasionally and disappear at other times. And your future is in grave danger if it all hinges on waiting for the proper emotion. Let me give you the simplest explanation of how your brain functions. Your brain isn't made to pursue objectives. It is designed to prevent pain. This implies that your brain will encourage you to put off a task if it makes you feel uneasy, afraid, overwhelmed, bored, or uncertain. You can scroll for hours without opening the book because of this. For this reason, you can view 15 films about achievement but not do it yourself. In actuality, you're not lazy. Simply put, your system isn't powerful enough to overcome the fear in your brain. Successful people possess that. They are independent of motive. They are dependent on systems. I'll give you the ideal example from real life. Nick, a student, desired to dedicate 2 hours each day to studying. However, he waited for the ideal moment, the ideal atmosphere, and the ideal time each day. Days went by. Then weeks, then months. Until he established one straightforward rule: nothing changed. Daily at 7 a.m. I spend half an hour at my workstation. I just turn up even if I don't want to and even if I don't study well. The initial days were challenging. He didn't do any studying. He did, however, adhere to the system. He continued to appear, and until it became second nature. He was no longer in need of inspiration. His regimen was unalterable. That's the key. When do I start no matter what, is a better question to ask than, how long should I work? Because work turns become a lifestyle once the start time becomes ingrained. You don't have to be motivated. All you have to do is arrive. It's acceptable to sit there and do nothing for the first 10 minutes. Teaching your brain that this is what we do today is the goal. You don't wait to get excited about it, just like when you brush your teeth. You simply do it. Your life is something you wish to alter. Make your acts non-negotiable first. When the clock strikes the time you have selected, not when you're ready or when you feel like it. Because it's like waiting for rain during a drought to find motivation. Systems do not wait, and it may or may not arrive. Even when you don't want to, systems function. Step 2. Make the assignment too easy to turn down. Due to the difficulty of the process, most individuals do not put it off. They put things off because they think the task is too enormous. Additionally, your brain interprets something as threatening when it feels large. Harmful to your serenity, your ego, your comfort, and your vitality. What does it do, then? It keeps you safe. The task is pushed aside. Not now, it says. Later, let's do it. We're worn out. We must do more preparation. However, it isn't keeping you safe. You are paralyzed by it. And this is the unvarnished reality. Instead of taking the chance of trying something unfamiliar and painful, your brain would prefer to remain in a cycle of comfort and guilt. People constantly saying, "I want to start writing, because of this. I'd like to start working out. I'd like to get started." However, weeks go by with nothing happening since the brain continues to reject and the objective is too big. So, how can this cycle be broken? The resistance is not something you immediately combat. Your brain has nothing to resist since you made the work so simple. Not tiny, but absurdly little. Your brain lets you in at that point, so it feels almost foolish. Assume that writing an article is your objective. Your mind goes into a panic. It's excessive. Hours will pass. You're not prepared. However, what if all you have to do is open the page and compose a single sentence? That's all. Only one sentence. Oh, that's easy, your brain says now. All right. And when you begin, a miraculous thing occurs. You persist because procrastination is killed by momentum, which is created by movement. Here's a compelling, real-world reality for you to consider. Some of the world's most accomplished writers, programmers, and artists don't wait for lengthy sessions lasting 5 or 6 hours. There is only one rule for them. Start with an offer you can't refuse. Regardless of how long it takes, 2 minutes, a single sentence, a push-up, or simply opening a page, reading a paragraph, and then closing it. Because finishing is not the aim. The objective is to begin without opposition. These inane tiny behaviors eventually develop into intense attention sessions. However, if you keep expecting to reach the top of the mountain before putting on your shoes, you will never get there. Now, this is what you do. Start by breaking your task down into the lowest possible stage. Make it so tiny that it seems practically useless. Then go ahead and do it. Why? Because success is not the point here. It has to do with identity. Every time you do something, no matter how small, you are demonstrating to your brain that you are a person who shows up. I am a starter. The initial step doesn't frighten me. And that evidence turns into assurance. Consistency is the result of such faith. And you adopt that constancy as your new way of life. This is your new rule if you're stuck. What do I have to do today, is not a good question. Inquire, what's the smallest step I can take right now that I won't reject? Watch as the floodgates open from there. Step 3. Remove the escape option. Now let's reveal the next profound reality. You constantly find a way out, so you continue to put things off. If I don't do it now, I'll do it later, you tell yourself. Get sidetracked, and I'll catch up. It's okay if I don't succeed. Tomorrow, I'll reset. However, that is the trap. Because your brain never takes the primary plan seriously when it is aware that there is a backup plan. It's similar to attempting to maintain faithfulness in a relationship while constantly keeping someone else on standby. The commitment is destroyed. You have been using your dreams for that purpose. Your distractions have been close at hand. Soft exits are what you've been offering yourself. The worst thing is that you have been avoiding the work by doing it covertly so that no one is aware of it. Now, let's be brutally honest. You work with your phone close at hand. Your TV is only a remote control away. Your social media apps are always logged in. You don't close the YouTube tab. You continue to use your alerts. You prepare and polish your excuses. You're not only putting things off. You're creating a setting that makes failing simple. Therefore, you must demolish your escape routes if you are serious about breaking this. You must construct a universe in which doing the task is mandatory. There is no other way forward. This is the way to accomplish it. Switch off your phone entirely. Not quite. Office uses a browser extension or app to prevent access to distracting websites. Clear your workspace of all entertainment gadgets. Place yourself in a public or organized setting where it is impossible to slack off, such as a quiet cafe, co-working area, or library. Tell someone what you're working on, and when it's finished, guarantee them proof. Why? Because your brain finds a way to function when there is no other option. I'll give you a severe but impactful example. The burning bridge effect is a phenomenon in psychology. A person becomes unstoppable when they eliminate all means of retreating since they are aware that there is no backup plan. Consider this. To conquer a far-off land, 2 warriors are dispatched there. They come by boat. However, the commander issues a surprising directive. Set the boats on fire. Going home is now impossible. Either they succeed or they fail. They are able to battle more fiercely than ever before because of that. You need the same mindset because you will continue to run as long as your diversions are close by, as long as you have a future, and as long as failing doesn't feel like a threat. However, your commitment becomes genuine the instant you demolish your escape and burn the boats. This is your challenge, then. Not later, but now. Eliminate one escape path. Put that app on hold. Switch off that gadget, make your objective known, take out your justification, and observe how serious your mind gets. Because you can only go forward if there is no way out. Step 4. Rewire your brain to speak. Allow me to pose an awkward yet sincere question to you. When no one is paying attention, what do you name yourself? What does your inner voice tell you when you miss a deadline, fail to complete a task, or spend another day scrolling? What a loser I am. I'm slack. I will always be the same. What's the matter with me? I ask you to pause right here and take in this reality if it seems familiar. You don't put things off. You are a person who has been duped into thinking you are. And you now identify with that belief. Your brain has come to believe it since you've said it so many times. It's not just something you do anymore. It has become your identity. Change seems unattainable because of this. As you're battling more than simply a habit. You're battling your own perception of yourself. While claiming to be lazy on the inside, you're attempting to project an image of being focused and productive. It would be like attempting to swim while wearing an anchor fastened to your leg. Until you alter your self-perception, you will never alter your actions. Let me give you the simplest explanation of how this operates. The moment you say a statement out or mentally, your brain hears it and begins gathering data to back it up. You're a disaster if you say that over and over. I am unable to complete anything. You'll begin to see memories in your brain that support this. You never finished the course, you see. Do you recall giving up your morning ritual? Take a look at last month's to-do list. Still vacant. However, nobody tells you this. The truth is not being shown to you by your brain. It is displaying to you what it has been instructed to locate. It will find laziness if you claim to be lazy. It looks for evidence if you claim to be unruly. Saying, "I always give up," turns into a prophecy. However, what would happen if you began telling it a different story? What if you start by stating, "I am someone who finishes. I follow through. Even if I move slowly, I do move. Even when I don't feel like it, I act. I don't consider myself to be a procrastinator anymore. It seems like a facade at first. It seems phony. You'll be shocked. It will be screaming in your head, "That's not true." But you still say it. It's something you say every day. You put it in writing. You address mirrors using it. Before you start working, you do it again. Before you go to sleep, you whisper it. And because belief is formed through repetition, your brain gradually begins to change. Identity is formed by belief. And behavior is a product of identity. You fail to meet your objectives. You succumb to your identity. You will always quit if you identify as, "I always quit." Guess what, though, if your identity turns into, "I keep showing up even on bad days, even when it's hard, even when no one claps." You prevail. You stopped allowing your history to dictate your label, not because you were flawless. This is what you should do next. Stop yourself whenever you hear yourself saying something harmful to yourself. Break the pattern. Say it aloud. I am no longer that person. Then, even if you don't believe it yet, say a new truth that you wish to live by. Because you will become it if you repeat it enough. You may rewire procrastination from the inside out in this way. Not only by actions, but also by identity. Step 5. Accept discomfort as the norm. One of the most agonizing and potent truths you will ever hear is this. The assignment doesn't frighten you. You're afraid of the emotion it evokes. You're not dodging the email. It's the worry it causes. It's not the gym. It's the discomfort, the work, and the shame. The schoolwork isn't the problem. It's the mental strain of getting started. The writing isn't the problem. The voice is warning that it won't be sufficient. To put it simply, you put things off to avoid discomfort. Your brain is designed for survival, not success, so it makes sense. And to survive, one must stay away from discomfort. However, this is where risk arises. The more discomfort you try to ignore, the stronger it gets. You teach your brain to fear difficult things more each time you avoid them. If it doesn't feel easy, it's not meant for me, is a facade that you reinforce. I should quit if it makes me uncomfortable. I should put it off if it hurts. And some waste their whole lives in this way. They don't do things unless they feel good about them. They only take action when it suits them. They only exert pressure when motivated. However, comfort does not give birth to greatness in life. The metamorphosis, the degree, the book, and the business. It all starts with repeatedly doing the thing you don't want to do until it becomes a part of who you are. So, how do you quit avoiding discomfort? You begin to accept it as normal and cease viewing it as an enemy. Here's how. Make a conscious decision to do one uncomfortable thing each day. Don't hold out for it. Look for it. Instead of avoiding the discomfort, move toward it. For instance, if you're afraid to call, do it first thing in the morning. Do it every day for 30 days if you detest getting up early. Have one open discussion today if you shun conflict. Set a timer for 5 minutes and start working on a task without thinking if you're afraid to start. Completing something is not the goal. Retraining your brain is the goal. This new rule is being taught to it by you. It's safe to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Growth comes from discomfort. The difficult tasks eventually cease to feel difficult. You grew stronger, not because things got easier. This is the difference between dreamers and winners. Winners don't have no fear. Simply put, they feel more at ease in discomfort. And you need to think like that right now. Give up looking for easy. Give up pursuing comfort. Give up waiting for the ideal time. Step into the flames. Take a seat in the tension. Breathe despite the opposition. Because you acquire control over procrastination every second you endure suffering. You'll soon stop claiming that I can't do this and begin to declare that I achieve because I take on challenging tasks. Step 6. You don't require further time. More truth is needed. Now let's dispel one of the greatest lies. I don't have time, people say. I'm simply too busy to accomplish it, even though I want to. I'll start as soon as I have some free time. Well, that makes sense, but let's be frank. The issue is not time. You have time. Every successful individual on the earth has the same 24 hours as you. The person who is already doing what you are dreaming about has the same number of minutes as you do. Your mornings, evenings, and calendar are all the same. You don't have enough time. Truth is what you lack. The fact that you aren't making the most of your time. The fact that you're using distraction instead of self-control. The reality that you're running away into activities that keep you occupied but leave you exhausted, broke, and stuck. For more hours is not necessary. You need to be completely honest with yourself for 4 seconds. The kind of candor that states, I complain that I don't have enough time to create, but I spend 3 hours a day consuming content. I'm not working on my dream as much as I'm watching others live theirs. I scroll. I overindulge. I tell myself lies. And when it's really simply avoidance, I call it rest. And since the truth always hurts before it heals, this could be painful. But there can be no change if there is no truth. Here's a small modification that makes a big difference. Give up using hours to measure your life. Measure it in terms of intentions. Because it's not how much time I have that's the question. What I'm doing with my time that genuinely advances my life is the question. You don't require ideal conditions. A day off is not necessary. You don't require a respite from the actual world, a calm home, or an empty email. Instead of coming up with another excuse, you should make the most of the 10 minutes you do have. I work 10 hours a day, people say. I have trouble concentrating. But are you truly interested in the truth? You're not worn out from too much effort. Nothing is more draining than knowing that you might have done better but chose not to, so you're worn out from squandering the little time you do have and living with the guilt of that waste all day. You want to feel more energized. Procrastination weighs you down, but even small progress gives your life, so make the most of your time and notice how light you feel. This is your challenge, then. Write this question down now and respond to it each morning. What can I do today that will advance me, even if it just takes 5 minutes? That's all. No more time-related lies. Don't hide behind your schedule any longer. In actuality, you do have time. You can now choose to wake up or waste it. Step 7. Take action first, feel later. You've been taught to believe a deadly faucet, which is one of the main reasons you put things off. I can't do anything till I feel like it. You think that before writing, you need to be inspired. You think that before speaking, you need to be confident. You think that in order to move, you need motivation. This reality, however, will alter your life. Emotions are secondary. The trap is that action comes first. You risk never moving if you wait for the emotion to strike before acting. Never, ever, not today, not tomorrow. Why? Because comfort is usually preferred by your brain. Furthermore, comfort rarely feels like work. Your instincts will therefore advise you to stay in bed, scroll a bit more, start tomorrow, and start with something simpler. However, you cannot use your feelings to shape your future. Because emotions are similar to the weather. They are always changing. They are not trustworthy. They are erratic. However, your dreams require constancy. They require organization. They must be moved. Particularly when you are feeling nothing. Let's investigate further. You always say, I don't feel like it. In actuality, you're saying, I want to act based on emotion, not intention. And you lose like this. You miss work because you're exhausted. You put off the project because you're insecure. You ignore the task because you feel overburdened. You train your brain to believe each time you do that. To be uncomfortable is to stop. The contrary rule, however, has been ingrained in the minds of successful people. Don't be uncomfortable. Start with confusion. Fear is a signal to start. It is not because they feel ready that they take action. After acting, kids begin to feel prepared because action does not follow emotion. The feeling is produced by the action. Consider it. Writing doesn't inspire you until you've composed a few sentences. You don't want to work out until you've completed the first 10 minutes. Before you talk, you don't feel comfortable doing so. Emotional momentum is created by that first push, that first step, no matter how small, slow, or clumsy. And all of a sudden, the seemingly impossible becomes possible. What seemed frightening begins to make sense, and what felt weighty becomes lighter. This is your new rule, then. Do I feel like it? Should never be asked. Inquire, what would the best version of me do right now? And then, despite the mess, do that. Even though it's slow and initially seems empty. Because you truly take control of your life when you stop waiting for your emotions to give you permission. And procrastination is destroyed by it. The choice to take action even when your emotions beg you not to, not more advice or techniques. Keep in mind that you don't have to feel that way. You must develop the habit of moving anyway. You win that way. Step 8. Self-control is not a quality. It's a choice. This is among the world's most perilous beliefs. Discipline comes naturally to certain people. You observe a person who gets up early, works hard, exercises, writes, creates, studies, develops, and evolves. And you believe that's how they were born. They are constructed differently. I must be missing something that others have. However, that is untrue. A faucet intended to give you a sense of security in your own passivity. Since the truth is strong and severe. Nobody is disciplined from birth. It is not a gift to be disciplined. It's a choice. It's also never made. It is produced each and every day. Let's explore further. It's not a lack of skill, time, or ability that causes you to put things off. Because you haven't taught yourself to choose discipline when it's inconvenient, you procrastinate. That's all. Doing what must be done is discipline. When you don't feel like it, do it again until your brain realizes that comfort is no longer your ruler. Here's the issue, though. Before acting disciplined, most people wait to feel disciplined. They remain stuck because of this. They believe I'll be reliable if I establish the habit. I'll get serious once I'm inspired. I will become unstoppable once I establish a routine. However, that is not how life operates. Action doesn't make you disciplined. You develop discipline by doing. Discipline is crucial, especially on the first day, when you don't know what you're doing and you feel weak, lethargic, exhausted, afraid, and dubious. Here's something that people hardly ever say aloud. It seems dull to be disciplined. Maintaining discipline is difficult. Discipline seems monotonous. But the foundation of freedom is discipline. The liberty to have a guilt-free existence. The ability to once more appreciate oneself. The liberty to choose a life of your own choosing. However, there is a cost to that independence. Daily decisions are also the currency. So how does one develop this discipline? You begin modestly. More significantly, though, you give up negotiating. You no longer ask yourself, am I feeling up to it today? This is the only time I should skip it. There must be a shortcut. You create your plan and then adhere to it as if it were a law. You don't hold out for clarification. You make it. Energy is not something you wait for. You arrive without it. You feel strong without waiting. You move when you're weak and get stronger as you go. This is the new persona you need to take on. I'm a disciplined individual. I chose the difficult path when it counts most, not because it's easy for me. And even when you don't succeed, you keep being that person. Because perfection is not the goal of discipline. It's about going back again and time again when your former self advises you to give up. You don't lack self-control. You don't have the will to construct it. And there's no more excuse now that you can see it clearly. Therefore, make a daily decision without exception because discipline is a quality of the devoted, not the gifted. Step 9. Silence breeds procrastination. So, say your objectives aloud. Now, let's discuss something more in depth. Something that most people are unaware of. The fact that only you are aware of your procrastination is what makes it feel so strong. Your objectives are personal. You conceal your habits. Your own head is where your plans are kept safe. And that creates the ideal environment for procrastination to flourish in the shadows. You can postpone what no one sees. You can leave something no one expects. You can disregard something no one is tracking. And people lose at this point. They have never given their goals a voice, not because they don't care about them. I'll demonstrate what I mean. Let's say you make a self-promise. I'm going to start getting up early tomorrow. You believe it, feel it, and think it, but you keep it to yourself. You don't write it anywhere. You don't provide any evidence. You and your quiet have a private agreement. Guess what, now? There are no repercussions, no accountability, no pressure, no one knows, and no one cares when tomorrow arrives and you don't get up early. That's your brain's favorite secret. The capacity to repeatedly fail covertly without ever being discovered. But everything changes the instant you make your goal a reality. You bring your objective out of the shadows and into the light when you write it down, say it out, or share it with someone who will be checking in on you. Additionally, procrastination has nowhere to hide in the light. This is one of the most potent behavior change mechanisms ever found, and it's known as external accountability. Because you will now hold yourself to a higher standard, not because others will criticize you. Because your word has meaning now. Your honesty is now in jeopardy. Now your intentions have substance. For this reason, after publicly committing to something, some people begin to show up. They launch a YouTube account. Every day, they update their progress on the internet. They ask a pal to see how they are doing. They employ a coach. They assure a group that they will provide something. They display their procrastination. And since someone will now know if they quit, it becomes more difficult to repeat. And the sense of being noticed, the pressure, the stress. When comfort fades, that's what motivates action. This is your challenge, then. Express your objective. Put your commitment in writing. Share your plan with someone. Establish responsibility. Bring it to life. Tell people about it. Make it important. Because silence allows procrastination to persist. But when there is expectancy, activity increases. You no longer merely keep your dreams in your brain after this. You let your voice become a contract as you carry them out into the world. Because you can't ignore it after you've said it. Step 10. Allow regret to frighten you more than effort. We should no longer act as though procrastination is merely a bad habit. Stop referring to it as sloth. I'll do it tomorrow is a risky sentence. Let's quit acting like it isn't. You are not merely waste time every time you put off important tasks, postpone your potential, or choose diversion over guidance. You're creating a life you'll come to regret. Nobody tells you that truth. You believe that delaying has little cost. You believe it to be only an unfinished activity on your to-do list, a missed task, or a wasted hour. However, it isn't. The true cost is that you pretend to yourself that you'll start someday, but that day never comes since it's always later, and your dream slowly dies. And when years pass and years turn into your life, you look back and see that it's gone. Not just the time, but also the self-assurance, the drive, the passion, and the opportunity to become what you may have been. And the most agonizing reality of all is that because they tried and failed, most people won't fail. Because they never began, the majority of individuals will fail. They will believe they are not yet ready for the rest of their lives. They will wait for motivation, energy, inspiration, clarity, and approval. Their statement will be, "One day I'll change." They never feared effort more than they feared regret, so they won't. They believed that hard labor would hurt. They anticipated a rough start. They believed that failure would be painful, and perhaps it would. However, they had no idea how much worse it would feel to be at the end of your life at 60, 70, or 80 and wish you had been more. However, I never gave myself the opportunity. They allowed fear, distraction, doubt, and laziness to rule their lives in silence, not because they were stupid or incapable. I have one last question for you today. What fears you the most? The agony of beginning when it's uncomfortable, or of realizing later that you never tried, since regret lasts a lifetime and effort lasts only a few minutes? That instant when you overcome the opposition. It may require 10 seconds of bravery. That awkward work hour. Even if today may be difficult, in 5 years you will be grateful that you made the decision to move on rather than make excuses. And in 5 years, you'll be angry at yourself for every moment you knew what to do but chose not to. Now, here is what you need to do. Give up daydreaming about the future. More than agony, begin to fear regret. Remember that you are not given the life you desire. It is constructed, and you are the builder. Not later, not maybe, not someday. Time will not wait for you. Life is not going to slow down. Furthermore, your potential is limited. You only have one life. And it doesn't end, which is the tragedy. The sad thing is that most individuals never experience it completely, since they continue to press until nothing was left to press. You don't require additional guidance. You don't require additional time. You don't require further plans. One item is required. A choice to cease compromising your future. Must give up looking for the ideal time to let go of the shame of wasted potential. The clock is ticking away. And you have to now. Every step has been heard by you. Not hints, techniques, or hacks, but the honest, unvarnished facts about why you've been stuck and how to get out of it. It was more than just a video. A reset was made. It was a mirror. No one else has been brave enough to speak to you in that voice. You're not a slacker. You're not damaged. You're not unable. You're simply late to the battle because your inner voice is constantly telling you, not yet. However, something more powerful has now encountered that voice. It's your choice. You don't wait from now on out. You don't plead for another opportunity. Discipline is not something you desire for. You turn into it. You're not left wondering what may have been. You create what is still possible. And what if you fall again? Get up. Never stop, but start over. You are no longer pursuing an objective. You're searching for your true self. The chase then starts. Not later, not tomorrow. Not when it seems appropriate. It starts now. If you were awakened by this video and reminded of your true self, please subscribe. Because scrolling through life is not why we are here. Our purpose is to rise. Our goal is change. Our goal is to succeed. May you be blessed.